Our pregame interview brought to you by Fast Signs Plano, here with Allen Americans head coach Steve Martinson from Wichita. Marty, let's start out first of all with last weekend. Great outing for Antoine Bebeau on Friday night in a big win. Unfortunately, he was only here with us, a day or so and back up. But let's start with that game against Wichita first.
Well, I think we played good enough to win. Our goaltender was good. I don't think they had a lot of scoring opportunities, but we're not, we have yet to start clicking and playing. I think the up we're capable of playing and defending, one-on-one defense has not been our strength, and we worked on that all week. So we'll see if we've gotten better at it.
The Kansas City game the next night was a tight game for a long time. Then they jumped out to the big lead, but only to see us rally in the third period. I know you're always disappointed when you're down that much, but I guess the one thing that was nice to see is the guys didn't quit. They came back and made it a game late in the third period.
Yeah, that's the one thing that we had to build on that is just say, hey, look, guys, we're scoring enough goals to win the game, but we're just so weak defensively, and we just give up gifts, and the shorthanded goals were. We're not competing when we don't have the puck, and our power play, we're standing around the perimeter trying to saucer pass through through the middle. It's just, that game was the most, we've had two really painful games to watch. So, I'm trying to make two power play units so they're competitive. So if you're not going even strength, or you're standing still in the power play, hopefully the other unit is doing things right. And, that brings us to Chad Butcher, who looked great yesterday in practice.
Talk about one of the bright spots early on in the season here. Rookie DJ Jerome, he leads the team in plus minus at +3. He's got the longest point streak right now in the team at 4 games in a row, and got his first and second career goals last weekend.
Yeah, and he's tough too. I mean, he can play a scrappy game. So right now I've got him with Butcher and Truck to start the game, and I know they're going to match up their top scoring line against Asachuk and Costello, and those guys are going to have to be ready to play tonight. So, that's the way it was last game, and I'm assuming they're going to come right back with it tonight.
NEURO-VISION always sponsors our keys to the game. Marty, what is the biggest key to getting the W tonight?
Well, it goes back to not beating ourselves. I think, we've got to just defend. And I always say defending is, to be a good defending player, you got to carry, and you got to, you have to be intelligent, and we've got to defend better. And our power play has got to get back to one-on-one, basic shooting pucks from the point. And we look on video and we see when we do one-on-one, it works good. When we stand around the perimeter, it doesn't work. So I'm expecting the power play to be better tonight. I'm expecting us to be a much better team all the way through the lineup.
All right, Marty, thanks a lot. Best of luck tonight.
Sure.
Tommy Daniels here, along with the voice of the Wichita Thunder, Don Johnson, or is he just pulling off the Don Johnson look on this Friday? I like the little dark beard. You look like I said, mentioned earlier off the recording, is you look like an actor who's been on set for 12 hours and just, finally getting a break.
If you showed my mom that I haven't shaved, she would probably yell at me. I'm just telling you.
I like it, man. I think it's a good look for you. Some people, I can't pull it off. I can't pull that off well. Looks good on you. So thumbs up to you, buddy.
I appreciate that. How are you?
I'm doing well. Here we go again. This is already the 4th meeting of the season between these two teams. Last year at this time, we were pretty much done with you guys, which is crazy to think about. But, we'll see each other a lot this year. I know both teams have gone through some injuries and up and downs. And, I know Martinson's not happy with the way our team has played so far early this season, and probably, very justified in his assessment of the team, and just, guys got to be better. Our top end players got to be better. I know you're kind of echoing those same sentiments there in Wichita.
Yeah, we've kind of hit the injury bug this part of the season. 6 of our players are out with injuries, and 4 of those are probably our top higher end type of players. Dean Stewart and Alex Peters, our top 2 D-man, are both out. Peters actually was just given the captain the same game that he ended up in a fight in the Utah game and hurt himself. So unfortunately, he might not be back until December. Dean, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with Stewart, but the other night we were missing Tim Soderlin, who came down from the Edmonton Oilers assigned him from Bakersfield, and he's been really fun to watch with the puck. Unfortunately, a smaller guy, and took a tough hit the other night against Kansas City. And then Matteo Gennaro went out on Sunday as well. So it's been rough in that regard. But, everybody deals with it, Tommy. I'm sure you know that. So you can't use that as an excuse. And unfortunately, the other night, it was just a situation where we went up against a hot goalie, couldn't get the puck past him, and then at the same time took some penalties at the end of the game, and ended up with a 5-on-3 against for almost 4 minutes, and Kansas City was able to cash in and make it a 2-0 game Tuesday.
Well, both teams combined have 4 wins. We have 2 wins in 6 games, although 2 of those coming in overtime, so you do pick up a point, but neither team is happy the way they've started the season. It's kind of crazy when you look at last year. I mean, the Americans in Wichita were the top 2 teams basically coming out of the West. And, both teams, I think, were 2 of the favorites for the Kelly Cup last year, and not starting too well for us. And, there was a lot of excitement, obviously, coming back into the season with the return of Chad Costello, arguably the greatest player to ever play in this league. Jack Combs coming back from 4 years in Europe, and some good young players. But, looking good on paper doesn't always necessarily mean, results. And we know these guys. Your team, I know mine, and I know that, give these guys a little bit of time. They will find their game. They're too good of players not to. But I know fans get a little antsy early on in the season when the record is not what they expect. How have the fans and how has the media reacted to the slow start in Wichita?
Well, that's a double-edged question, I would say. First off, I think there's fans that, coming into the year, there were certainly high expectations with the way last year ended, but at the same time, they were a little disappointed in the way the roster was starting to shape up. And that's not necessarily something I would venture to say would be I'm trying to look for the right way to say this, Tommy. Coach was the head coach of the year last year. I think you need to give him a little benefit of the doubt. He's got an eye for talent, and he's picked up a couple of young rookies that have started to make an impact for us this season. But, we ended up with Stephen Fournier leaving before the season. Anthony Beauregard goes overseas. Matthew Gagnon leaves. So he was almost starting not from scratch, because we had 8 to 10 players returning from last year, but trying to fill the void of 2 of our better offensive players, which is not easy when you got a guy like Anthony Beauregard, who was the league MVP, and he goes back over to Europe. So, the fans, I think, are a little restless, like they probably are in Allen. We don't have any vets on the roster with the loss of Dylan Olson, who ended up retiring. So this is a young team, and there's going to be growing pains, but there's still a lot of talent on this roster. And I think, once we get some of these guys back, hopefully we'll see that level increase. But until then, they're going to have to play a defensive game, and Evan Beitenheis has been great over the last 2 games. So hopefully that can continue for us.
And that's where I was going to go next, is you do have one of the top goaltenders in the league in Beitenheis, who will keep you in every single game. And we know your talent. Jay Dickman, one of the top rookies in the league last year. You mentioned Peter Cronella, who leading your team in goals with 4, and Matteo Gennaro, who always seems to have a big game against us. And he's one of those guys that if he's on your team, you love him. But he's always getting his nose involved in things, on the ice. And that's one of those guys you love to have in your team. So you would feel, once you get your team healthy, once you get some of these guys back from injuries, Stewart, as you mentioned, is a big one that's out of the line, or excuse me, Peters, who's a big one out of the lineup, as well as, Stewart. So eventually things are going to go. Coaches don't forget how to coach overnight. And Rammer is one of the best in the league. So I still have a feeling by the time we get to, end of December, January, these 2 teams will be right in the thick of it, atop of the Mountain Division.
Yeah. And, Beitenheis is playing every game for us this year. At some point, you would figure that either Tyler Johnson, who is our backup goalie, or we were supposed to get Olivier Rodrigue from Bakersfield, but because of the injury to Mike Smith up at Edmonton, that has not happened yet. So Johnson is going to have to get in possibly the week of Thanksgiving, because we play 4 games in 5 nights. Now, the way the schedule works up here this weekend, I would expect that Buitenhuis is going to continue to go, because there is a day between games for us. I know you guys end up playing on Saturday, but you're right. Getting back to the comment you made in regards to Bruce, there's a reason why he ended up winning Coach of the Year, not just because of the talent that we had on our team last year. I mean, I thought the way he was able to get that team to come together, and he's a terrific coach and knows how to, the X's and O's and motivating guys. It's certainly something that you got to, again, give him, I think, the benefit of the doubt that he's going to get this ship righted in the right direction. But at the same time, who knows? I mean, we play you guys 17 times this year. That's insane that we're going to see you that many. But one thing I think I forgot to mention, you had made a comment about how we've already played you 3 times out of the 7 games that we've played you, 3 of those against you. And at the end of the weekend, 5 of the 9 games that we've played will be against Allen. So, we're going to get to know you guys real well by the end of the month.
Last thing for you, Mal, is, 2 teams trying to find their way, 2 teams desperate need of wins. What do you think is the key to tonight's game? If Wichita wins this game, this happens.
Well, I don't want to put it solely on scoring first. You guys have won both games that you've scored first, and it's important, I think, to get off to a good start. For us, I think playing well defensively, limiting Chad Costello and Spencer Asachuk is going to be important. You guys are missing 2 of your better offensive players in Jack Combs and Ryan Lowen just got called up, which I'm sure hurts you guys in that regard. But I think, that our first line has got to carry the load for us in order to get a victory. We've got to get guys like Jay Dickman, Peter Cronella. They have to have their name on the score sheet, I think, to get a win, and Braden Watts. If that doesn't happen, then unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get the victory. But those guys have got to find a way to provide the offense tonight, because unfortunately we've been shut out twice so far this season here in the early going.
Enjoy your off day tomorrow. I'm sure you'll be spending it with the world famous and adorable Hannah. And hopefully sometime this year, Mal, my plan is to get to Wichita for maybe a weekend series and spend a little time with you.
You're looking forward to it. I'll let her know that you said hello. She thought it was funny that we brought her name up on the last time we had this conversation. So,
well, here we go. Another podcast, another reference. Can never go wrong there. All right, buddy. Thanks, man.
Have a great call.
I appreciate you as well. That's the voice of the Wichita Thunder, Jason Mouse, here on the Allen Americans pregame show.